So, welcome back to Chinese landscape painting. I think we're lesson 8, right? 8 or 9, I forgot. Anyway, time very fast. So now it's March. So last two classes we have finished this small painting by small masterpiece master copy by Ma Yuan, the moonlit landscape with plum blossom. Everybody have done very good. At least you learned something from this, and it's very important to do master copy, as I talked about last time. It's a deposit of creative energy. And then today we're going to use that to be more creative. But before that, we'll do some basic drills. I gave you 3 variations of the same composition. Maybe we should close that door. Same idea. The artist Seshu, a Japanese monk painter, he traveled to China in the 15th century, I think, and learned from Ma Yuan and Xia Gui's style. I think they live a century or 2 away, actually. They're not contemporaries. But he copied many small paintings like the fan face. I give you in the handout with the article. You can see how, and not from the best one of this series, but this one is most useful for us, from which you can see how he was trained, to use the brush stroke. So his expressive style, in the end, is actually derived from the very basic fundamentals, which is the triangle. And I want to draw a triangle. Don't think of anything, just your math, like your math class. So and try to, and then tell me where you start. Okay. I will show you the answer. Okay. Let me just draw like a scientific shape of a triangle. So when you draw a triangle in one stroke, where do you start?
Top, lower bottom.
Yeah, most people would draw top, like I heard that. Yeah, I think before I learned the painting class, I would draw probably from here, right? So we just put a starting point or something like that. A start, right? That's a question. This for math is okay, but for our purpose, just remember this rule. This is where it should start. Okay, I just put a star there. So this corner, lower left, sorry. If you use left hand, you might start from here. I'm not sure. So this is how we do it. You start from the lower right corner, go up. Okay, use only the tip of the brush, and then you press the brush without lifting. Okay, just kind of no stop right here, and then use the whole side of the brush like that. I just try to create, because this paper is very slippery. I try to get the roughness of that. So just like that. So you can press a little bit at the end. So this is the direction I call this like you write the calligraphy. What we call this? Folding or bending. Right? Sorry, do you know how to describe this stroke? Bending,
No, I
folding.
Folding.
So there's an angular turn, not curve. Instead of like that, right? If you just turn, you can make a border kind of. But for this kind of style, the Mayuan and Shagui style, it's the everything has a kind of we call it a corner landscape. But for me, in a broader sense, the trees, the rocks also have corners, angular corners. Okay, so this will be too round, right? So this is right. So this is a triangle. Now, if you how will you do a square? A square. A square is there's one more side. Okay, so you go like that. Right. If the rock is above water or covered by grass on the lower side, you don't have to do the bottom. But if you do that, if it's exposed, you add a dash to the bottom like that. Okay, just like you will write the horizontal stroke in calligraphy. But in water, usually this line is either avoided or with more like water ripples, okay, like horizontal long lines. In Western painting, you might do a shadow, a cast shadow, but we don't do that. Okay. So that's the square, and then rectangular is similar to the square. I tried to make it longer, maybe it should be rectangular, okay. So the rectangular is just a longer upper plane. And then you can add the shading stroke to help if one, but when you add this texture stroke, you try not to add too disordered. Try to put on one side the shady part, okay? And also this line actually varies to indicate. See, if I vary the pressure, you get the shadow kind of, the light is coming from the left. Okay, so even with just one outline or contour, you can indicate the yang and yin by different pressure. Right? The next shape will be the pentagonal or pentagon shape, the five planes. Oops. So let's draw this first. Okay, so you hold the brush pointing to the left still, but use only the tip to start from the left lower corner, right? Then go up. 3, okay. And then this one maybe like that. As this should be a little flat. So this, you use the whole side. If not enough, just do this. Let me do it again. So 1, 2, It should be 3, right? I missed that. Oh, I didn't get. Let me just do it. I tend to do 6. Anyway, that's the idea. You don't really have to count them, but this is more like a natural shape. So, yeah. Could be flatter, but you notice that the bottom is like a V, a shallow V. Not a check mark as we talked about some trees like we talked about, but this is the shallow V. Don't have to be equal. This 2 sides could be varied like that. Okay, so you can start with a little pressure, and then you can even leave some absence. And this could go up to save a stroke. So this go down, and then this go up. We call this go and le in Chinese, by the way. You don't have to know the Chinese term, but go means the upper part of the circle, kind of. Le means the opposite. To close. Le means to close, and this is to outline. Okay. So just remember, always start from the lower right corner. And you can then add the texture. We'll talk about the texture later. And this should be a little stronger here. Okay, it needs practice, even for me, to eventually become like a writing. The difference between a masterpiece and a student piece, or maybe the difference between East and West, is the line quality. When we paint, we don't just depict the shape. You should convey a sense of writing, like a calligraphy. So if you draw, even the first class, you remember if we draw this kind of, remember this shape? If you draw, this is too mechanical. You can vary the shape. You can vary the pressure, make it more kind of, yeah. You can give a little bit angular or pressure change, or vary the shape. It will make it more natural, more organic, right? So you can vary the pressure instead of just very even line and all closed up. This is a very common student, and I would definitely pay more attention on this kind of division line. It's same with the angular stones. And let's say if we have a stack of cards, like I said, and this indicates the perspective, depth, right? And what we do is we just treat it like one stone first, right? Like the one we learned, and then so create steps going up. That one, two, 3, 4. So this will create depth. If you look at the Celsius painting, I need to. We do need to do this. I identified all the triangulars in this piece. Then we'll go to the even on this. What's that? To the final, the master copy. This one. This one, and you should also see this in that one as well. So we'll make maybe we do that one first. This not so good one, so we can beat him. Okay. It could be a fake, you know. We don't really know. Let me put this. Yeah, you can take the time to do more. Just use the entire blacken the whole page, whole piece with the exercise. It will help in the end of this. You know, in any painting, I think it requires mileage, especially in this kind of painting. You have to do a lot of stroke practice. One of the rule, you know, in the past, when you enter a class or become a student of a master, one of the landscape master in Beijing, I think, he required his students to bring like a pile of newspaper, all blackened with this kind of drills. So the purpose is to get to know the nature of a brush, the 笔性, to get familiar with your brush. Because if you're a new student, of course you don't know your brush. You have to make friend with the brush by doing all this kind of strokes. All right. And then we will talk about the ink. You don't have to vary the ink when you just do the strokes. But when we do the painting, we do have to worry about. Okay, this composition is kind of centered, more kind of shrink, not exactly as good as the other one. So maybe we can improve on that. So I'm going to start with the bottom and make the horizon line about 1/5 or 1/4, something like that, to start with. And then we'll go from there. And the paper I'm using is double trend. Okay. I will use a raw canvas. It's my kind of blending surface. You can use a piece of cotton or any rug instead of paper towel, because paper towel takes too much paint. So sometimes the leftover on this is useful too. So I use that, and let me see. Where's my ink is here? So I'm going to wet my brush first. Maybe get some water here. Let's see. I'll just put it on the side. So my brush, it should be. Oh, I already have the ink. You know, I wrote those diagrams, so I just use that. I think this painting for me looks like he used the leftover paint to start with. So he's just washed his brush like I'm doing here. So we don't need to really wash the brush, just to take advantage of whatever left there. So you start from the dark. And he just started, maybe he just started right there. I don't really care about that too dark, so we start regularly, we'll start from here. And now you can clearly see the triangles, right? We can start from this middle one. And this one is in the center to the right, okay? So starting from the lower part, go up, and whatever we call this. And I see he immediately did another one. So it's just variational. So you kind of stack two together, but the idea is the same. You can make this one another triangle. So you don't have to copy. You try to see his rules, not the variational effect. Copy his mind image, not the trace of brushwork. So this bottom is the closing stroke, but here is because the water, you don't have to close it. It's more like the eyelets, okay? And then you can do some stacking rocks on the left side. And this behind, some big and small. Okay, and this side, right? And then go up. Okay, now I'm just adding water to the brush, and you got this stroke. See, if you do the just follow this natural procedure. You don't have to worry about the light. The light will come out naturally. Okay, and we can. Let me just exhaust the dark. So the second layer is right there. See, a lot of strokes. It looks like it goes down, but you can also pull the brush up instead of pushing. So you can go like that. There's two like triangular shape. This one is heavier, right? And then you can add another slope. Okay, add more water. Just keep adding water. If the ink is right, you just go directly. If not, you can test it to see if it's what you want to go up. And see that big stroke is just like we just learned, right? Like right there. So that proves he knows the rules, right? That's the. So it's all triangular. You just add water to the tip, right? And you can extend that, sometimes it requires speed. And he did this maybe within 20 minutes, no more than that, I think. Just wash the brush, basically. At the end of the painting, the brush is clean. Yeah, you can push the brush like that. See? I push it to get the roughness. And here's a village. village. Okay, there's some trees. You just did something like that, and some clouds, distant trees. Okay, and here we missed. I know we missed this side, right? It should be there, otherwise it's not triangle. And you break the rule, and then you try to find the rule to fix it. Okay, and you can just stacking. So in different, when you add, the key is to add a different value, either lighter or darker, not the same to repeat. So it will not be flat. Right? So I just add very light ones, something like that. And here, there's a boat there, so we leave space for the boat. Okay. And hapuku means wet, not really wet into wet. Could be dry into wet, or dark into light, light into dark, but in different contrasting tones, and dry or wet contrast break each other to become to create a depth. See that different tonalities. Okay, now we can add darks, but before that, there's some trees on top. Let me see. I can wait a little bit because it's maybe too wet. Now let's do the details in the foreground, the boat and the houses. Okay, the boat is another triangle. If you enlarge it, you'll see the boat is like first of all, it's like a little bit something like that, and then the triangular shape, and just a dot for the. I think the figure is like this, something like that. It's a triangle. The same thing like we did with this rock. Everything is like that. The house, of course, is triangle like that. Another, and the rectangular and triangle. Okay. So if you remember this order, and you can do everything to keep it consistent and harmonious. So 1. Okay, and here is the banner. You know this banner with a koi fish spinning like a kite? It should go. So that indicates it's a inn or a wine restaurant, something like that. That's the sign. Oh, here is another stroke we need to make. Okay, now the boat. This boat is really flat. Okay. See the. Oops. I just kind of like an airplane landing. A little bit too heavy, but that's okay. I like that actually. So now the triangle should for the person. And you can have another person, but this is a fisherman, kind of like there's some pole, fish pole, something, I don't know. Could be just the idea. Okay, now because I got dark again, right? Now the time to do this. So this is all leftover ink. Yeah. Okay, now the dark on this one. Just do the little triangles. Yeah, I see. See that same kind of brush stroke everywhere. Or you have to start to wash the brush again. So this is time to wash the brush again. Don't try to copy his mistakes. I see something too heavy, right? Like a big nail head strokes. But that's up to you. It's aesthetic. If you think it's more contemporary, abstract, you may copy that as well. I see some horizontal dots representing trees or something on top of this. But let me see. You can have a little bit stronger contour here, and then some texture, and you can have more wash if needed. I just fix the qi, continuity of the very abstract. You can add little tone break. We call the Habaku style breaking ink. You can add dark if needed, but I think it's okay. Usually you cannot really duplicate everything on this because it's impossible. Even for the artist himself, you can see every piece is different. Depends on the mood and the random materials. Each time could be different. Okay, that's probably it. He didn't do the very pale mountains behind. Let me see if we can still do that. But that will be the lightest. I'll just wash. I didn't do my pad things. At this point, if I have the ink here, I will just grab some ink left over from there. Just clean water with the. Maybe I just grab from. I got this here actually. I'll just take this pen. See this much. This is all I need. Yeah, and then just wash it. Let me see. Just like that. And just water. Still, I don't break the rule that you wash on the upper side of the contour, so this to separate the light and the dark. And you can also do a little bit there. You don't wash. You don't shade both sides of the contour, generally speaking. So to create light and dark contrast. Okay. And something like the idea is to make the painting feels very moisture, very fresh, but not too much water. So you still need to do some dry strokes. Usually these dry strokes are the triangulars or the rectangulars to give structure. Otherwise, it's just no stroke, just ink. We call that 墨珠, like a fat ink pig. No bone, no bone. Okay, that's okay. How's your Any attempts? Yeah, you can.
We're just watching. Shall
Okay,
we
okay.
try it?
Yeah, just give it a try, and I'll see how. We'll do some more. Okay. Yeah. Let me prepare for the next one. You should do this because I'm talking and doing. You should do this within 10 minutes on a small piece. Okay. Yeah. 看那个拿那个，就看到这边。就second.
You gave us the wrong painting.
Huh?
In the handout, this painting
Oh.
is not the same as that.
The second. This is today or the last week?
And this is what you handed out today.
Oh,
And that doesn't look like what you
do you
did.
have the one from last week? We have the letter with from the last week, because we didn't use that last week. I was using the, okay, here's another study I did last night on mulberry paper. So you can use mulberry paper, double strand, any paper, or even Shigada wing. I also tried on Shigada wing. So let me just show different effect on different paper maybe.
It was in last week.
Oh, there's some extra from last week. Cannot. That's the one I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I have, well, I have this, that's not the one. It's this one we got last week. Yeah, I have that.
Oh, I don't have it. Can I take a picture of this? Yeah. I can't remember if this is from last week or this morning, last Monday.
Maggie?
Oh, thank you.
Here's my first attempts last week before last week's class. You can see I did very small ones. You don't have to do large. You can just experiment with this. You know, I did that long fan shape also here, and another attempt. So you can just do lots of this. This kind of painting, just like abstraction painting, it looks easy, but it maybe have like a 10% success ratio or maybe less.
So
But
you started at the bottom?
yeah, bottom.
With dark paint, right?
Yeah, dark. The dark first. I say medium dark. Medium dark. And then the dark to do the detail, and then you add the trees. Yeah, that's the idea. So medium dark and then light first, and then the detail dark, and the leftover for the upper, the forest or the bushes. Yeah. Try to get the top like very like roof shape, yeah, the triangular shape. And try to avoid too wet or too round. too smooth. The do's are rough, stiff is good. Rough, dry is good. Dry and rough, bold strokes. But on the left side could be thinner. On the shady side or the right side, press very hard with the whole side of the brush. And press at the end. Don't lift the brush. Yeah, press. Remember, let me turn back to the illustration. So you kind of stop at the bottom. So I do have a stop like there, right? So this could be, I immediately can see what I didn't make it myself. I see this part, stop there, press. Okay, here you need to stop here at the right corner, press, yeah. But because the dryness of the ink, it may not be so heavy. You don't have to make a smear or something. But it's a dry brush still, but you press. Yeah. I see some very nice result with Maggie. Very nice. Copy the idea, not the mistakes. Try to avoid if you think there are some ugly strokes, try to make it nicer. And in the end, we'll try to do the most famous version of it. In the Tokyo Museum, it's the first class national treasure, I think. It's become an icon in Japan. It's the best representative of sommelier maybe in the entire history. So it's in all the textbooks, picture books, maybe. You know, when I first started teaching in China, as a foreign student, I wasn't ready for paint something like this. It's just like someone asks you, how can you do a Mona Lisa or can you do a Picasso, something like that. So we always start from the very basics, right? But those American students, especially they learn from the art class, they only know Bada Sanren or Shaishu, and then I was asked to teach them how to do this. And since then, it became my source of inspiration. I always learn from the best. So I kind of expanded from my own teacher's style into more traditional or classical ones. Yeah. And the landscape style I did was Fu Shi, you know, it's a contemporary 20th century master, and maybe we'll explore that towards the end of the class. He has a system of how to do realistic, real landscape, not realistically. Yeah. I try to adjust the tonality by adding water, but not wash the brush. So you'll get a softer edge to start with when you do the background, the soft washes, right? So it's just a process of like you washing the brush from dark to light, then you get all the tones. So the light is the remaining ink or the watered down ink on the tip. Yeah. If you try to get the light on the palette, it's really difficult because you cannot. If you just load the brush correctly, you get it. And don't reload. That's another key point. Don't reload the brush too often. If you try to reload after every stroke, you won't get it right. So you will lose the continuity, from dark to light, also from wet to dry, and then wet from dry to wet to dry. The whole one stroke idea, we call it one stroke painting, this kind of painting. Like you can see where it started and where it ended. So next time when you go to a museum, you will trace the dance of the master, You can see the process of the creation, recreate the process in your mind. Should I do another one so you can follow, or you want to finish your first one?
I want to try another one.
Okay.
I didn't like.
Okay. Yeah. Try to vary the width, the pressure. The beginning. The beginning is you only use the.
Light.
You use the tip part, not the whole side. So this is you can just use the tip with very little pressure, and then press like that. I exaggerate, okay? So you create this sharp variation instead of doing.
Yeah.
But actually, Sashi does this. But that's what Sashi does. That's okay, If you, he has some very heavy strokes on the bottom. You can see here. This is 3 strokes. It looks like this. So 1. And he just put 2 down strokes like that, and then he did 1 up, I think. But here he had restricted rules. He got that double triangle behind, right there, and then another triangle I can see. So he got a stack of triangles in the bottom of this masterpiece. I'm going to change I'll put this on the side. Maybe I'll change the paper and get ready for my attempt on the real one. This one could be an imitation or something, but it could be his practice, I think. But it's really good to give us insight on what stroke he was making. I can put on this wall here. I got 2 kind of mulberry. This one is probably too squarish. It should be like the width is the length is twice of the width, right? So maybe I use this one. This is mulberry. Is a very thin one. Mulberry 2. It's the type. This is probably too long, so we can make it shorter later. This is a very thin mulberry. I think the size is more rectangular. Maybe a little too long, but you see. Yeah, that's right. You see, this is the square, and then this is typical rectangular. Let's just use this one. Where's my tape? Oh, here. I should use the chicken feather brush this time. Next time. Okay, let me see how you do. The wash should avoid like a too wet.
Yeah.
That's a problem. It could be, you could wait it a little bit, I think.
Okay.
Or the ink could be a little drier. I think avoid
Bloom.
overlapping.
Yeah.
You can put the light right next to it. You can touch a little bit, but not completely rain into it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To avoid that blurring effect. Try to go slower.
Oh, okay.
You don't have to do fast. If you use dry brush, you go slower. If you use very wet brush, you have to do fast to get the texture. Yeah. If the brush is dry enough, yeah. Okay. So I'm going to do another demo. Maybe you can continue what you're doing. So first, I wet this brush. This time I started with light. I start with light, different from last time. It may be not the way he did, but I will use a different approach. So my idea is to do the light and let it dry, and then do the dark. Okay, the watercolor concept maybe. And I can use this side for the dark and this for the light, because this is a very irregular shape, and it will give me the texture, the split brush texture. Okay, so we got let me change this water, this kind of dark. Okay, although it's very light, I still need just a little bit.
So you're doing the other painting?
Yeah, I'm doing another paint, the masterpiece, yeah,
This one?
the museum one, yeah. That's the one I tried to. So I just touch the tip with a little bit ink just on one of the feather with dark. Then I blended it a little bit just on this cloth. not really blending, but let me see how this, maybe a little bit more water, I think. So most of the brush is still clean, just a few ink. Let me see.
Did you wet the entire brush first or just the?
Yeah, I wet the whole thing first. So I'll just do it like this. All right. So I'm going to do the okay, this composition is like all the things is on the lower part. Most of the elements. Only the top mountain is up there. So I'll just draw the horizon. This brush is really hard to get that triangular shape because it's not not the right shape there.
Henry, should we rough up our new brushes? Should we rough up our new brushes? My new brush still comes kind of to a.
You mean this brush?
Yeah. My new one is almost to a point.
Oh, really? Yeah, that would be good actually. I like that. If you want me to use yours, you can.
It's up to you if you want to.
Sure, yeah. I'm not sure if it's different. I didn't realize that's different. Oh, you can, yeah, I can
I'll show
try.
you later. Yeah.
Later, okay. Yeah.
Is yours a point?
No, mine is kind of long on one side.
Oh.
Okay. And here you got let me just use this stiff brush. I think it's easier to use this bezier brush. And oops, I think it's too dark. But let's see. It could be too dark. Okay. It will dry lighter, so. And you can see he kind of stuck the triangles like that, right? Something like that. It's probably already too high. It should be lower. Yeah, that's the maximum I could get. It should not go that tall. And that's the trees and that's about it. Yeah, and then here are some other trees, I think. So here is the platform for the inn. I think I'm going to put this reference here. I'm painting from memory so far. See how close we got. So I just use this side to define the bottom here. And you can see that the triangle here then goes up there and goes like that. And this is the triangle, and then here is another triangle. Okay. And some more. You can blot if it's too wet. I just let it bleed. I don't have to, I think. Okay, that's the. And then we use clean water again to create some mist. And this should be more like the even it's not visible, but you can still see the horizontal strokes like this. I think that's the idea. It's a little too soft. Let me just use this side. And we need some dry strokes to balance the wet. Okay, so here is some more mist. That's about it. And you can have some dark on this side, and we'll do the dark chunks later. So on this top, if you want a neat shape, you have to use this kind of good shape brush. Let me try first if I can get this. So I will load the brush with clean water, right? And then just a little bit leftover ink on the tip. And here I hold the brush this way. Just use the side to paint like that. And then you can use the tip of the brush to do the hard line. And you can kind of roll the brush. Do it again. This is not the easiest brush. I think he will use the stiff brush. He used the stiff brush. Okay. Just blend a little bit, and then the little needle peak is basically continued of this one. I think there's a cloud in between, so it's very small, and you can add water to. Just like we did the remote mountain last week, just clean water to finish that. And you can just blend in a little more. Okay, that's about it. It's a clean water. Okay, and here the detail, you can use this big brush, or you can use the even smaller brush to do that. Just regular calligraphy brush would be good. Let me pick up any. Oh, this mustard, my favorite brush for this purpose, I think. You wet the brush? Yeah, wet the brush, very important. Otherwise, it's not going to point well. Excuse me. And you don't have to vary the ink. For this, you just use pure ink, okay? And then the fence of the ink, it has like a nail head, very squarish. And then there's a little gap that indicated the gate. And then continue. So the whole shape is a triangular shape, getting smaller. And you can leave that gap. Okay, here's the banner pole. And just the one stroke for the banner. And this is triangles. One, a window, a triangle, a triangle. That's about it. Right? Just I don't see a window there, so some indication of trees. And here the darks. If it's too wet, what do? And you can use the hair dryer to save time. Sorry about the noise. Oops. I think I didn't turn it on. But the idea of haboku is to break in when it's still damp, not completely dry. But there's a balance of how much smearing you want. So it's really should be under control. Okay, so I see the basic group of 4 works out there. So if you're familiar with those rows, you can see everywhere he has done that without just random. So he has a lot of training in Ma Xia's style. I can see this kind of this 4. But you hide it, in the end. You really don't want to be too mechanical about this. Okay, and you can use a water sprayer. Maybe the session doesn't have this, but he will use it if he got, right? Okay, so that's about it. And you can break in a little bit. I do want to smear sometimes, so just let it smear. If you want more like mist here, sometimes on vertical I use this brush, it's easier. Because it doesn't drip that much. If I use the side, it might drip. I just want to eliminate some unwanted white. But once you do this, you kind of you will start a trend with no end. So try not to interfere too much. And try not to copy exactly the master copy. I think that's the idea. I think that's it. Stop me if it's too late. Okay, before it's too late. Yeah. And then the signature. Oh, I haven't done this boat. Do I have a boat? It looks like right there, huh?
Yeah.
Let me just let me take a look. Well, we can make that a person. It looks a little bit like a person already, so we just put that there. And this person may be a little bit too big compared to the original. It's Boeing. And,
I know.
all comes triangles, yeah.
Never noticed it before.
Be careful with the smear. I'm not sure about the boat. It could be some cargo area or something like that. It's a little bit, just a little very. There's some like a cups between them, the toasting each other or something on the boat. So yeah, not to not try too hard. That's the idea. I think that's it. And you can, if you like the triangle, you can use a stiff brush to do that. And I think it's fine. I kind of like that what we got so far. Just to. Yeah, that's the idea. You have to make your own judgment, and if you follow, that's why I show you his exercise or something like that. So the quality of the same artist could vary, very. If you pick up some painting from his garbage can, it will be more like that. So one artist, a Chinese master, have a seal says 3,000 wasted paintings behind this one, something like that. Yeah. So his like Fu actually, his family never buy toilet paper. Yeah. So this kind of painting really rent a lot of paper. You have to, but if you want more control, use the the last class style, the more like Gombi style on sized paper. This is semi-size, by the way. Okay. Yeah, this is the Mulberry 2B. 2B, yeah. I think the original painting is on Mulberry. If you look at the large picture I emailed you, that's from the detail. Yes.
Henry, if you painted that at home in your studio, long like that, would you paint it on an easel or flat?
Oh, flat.
Okay.
Yeah, flat. Yeah, flat is easier to manage the dripping. If I paint on the flat, I can use a lot of water as a pool of water to wash. But now I have to control that. Yeah, especially this kind of washes. But it's different. I see more the entire painting better by painting on the easel, I think. Yeah. So just keep practicing and enjoy the process. Yeah, I'm going to stop recording and see you next time on YouTube.